Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, worshippers of all ages, welcome to YouTube. My name is SeaRaptor, and guess what, kids? It is time for more Scuttlebutt. I'm actually a little late getting this one out. I'd like to get these videos and post them so that they come on. They basically post on patch day here on NA, but between real life catching me out last week and then patch day being a little delayed, bit of a snafu getting this one out on time, guys. So I apologize here. We're a few days after the patch, but let's get to it. Game in the background to keep you entertained. This is Tier 8 Italian destroyer Vittorio Cuniberti. I've done a first look video on the channel on Cuniberti. I'll throw the card in here. You can have a go check that out if you want to learn a little more about this ship. This is actually a test game I played in Cuniberti at some point. I forget when during the test cycle. This, I think, is the first and only test game I played in Cuniberti, but she's released into the game with pretty minimal changes, so what you should see, what you're seeing me play here should be pretty close to the final version of the ship. And, yeah, like, I didn't know what to expect, right? Tier 8 to me, the Tier 7, as I went through the line, and you'll hear me talk about this in the first look video, as I went through the line, the Tier 7 and the Tier 8 looked a little on the weak side. But as you're going to see in this game with Cuniberti, that's not entirely accurate. I was quite pleased and quite surprised with how well this game went for me. So have a peek and let me know your thoughts in the comments. And just about the line in general, if I'm honest, guys. So far, the Italian destroyers have legitimately surprised me with how well they have been doing. So let's talk about what's going on in shooty boats. What's all the news? Well, probably one of the biggest pieces of news, at least if you follow this channel for me, is that King of the Sea 14, which was due to begin in, well, about a month or so, has been basically canceled or postponed. Wargaming, essentially, as near as I can figure by the way they've phrased the statement, their position is that, you know, COTS is now a global tournament. And since nominally one of the regions, that would be the CIS, the Russia region, would not be allowed to participate or wouldn't be participating due to world events, that they were just going to postpone the whole thing until they could. Whether you agree with this or not, that's up to you. That's the decision that they've made, and since they own the intellectual rights to the tournament and everything, that is their prerogative. So, the rest of us just have to shrug and go, well, that sucks. Now, what they are doing instead is they're replacing it with a similarly formatted event that's going to be run separately on NA, EU, and Asia. So there's going to be basically a COTS-like event that's going to happen on a similar schedule on each of the various regional servers that aren't CIS. So for here on the U.S., that will be starting on the very last weekend in April. I believe actually the last day of April. I think 30 April and 1 May is the first weekend, following up with group stage and everything the next weekend. And then the regional finals for that event will be on the 14th and 15th of May. So if you follow competitive warships, you've seen that announced over on the King of the Sea server. That shouldn't be anything new to you, and you can sign up for that. Will be opening here in a few weeks. Keep an eye on that. I'll put some links down below to kind of point you to the right info. There'll be Discord links, so, but just if you're interested, go check all of that out. One of the other big things that's kind of come together a little unexpectedly, about a month ago, I kind of tweeted out my old USS Kidd video, which turns out to have been a little video log of the very last Anchors Away event that was run here on NA, over 2 years ago now. And Happafader, who is interviewed in that video, was working for Wargaming at the time. He and I were kind of lamenting the fact that, like, man, why haven't they gotten back to this yet? Like, what is the deal? What is kind of holding them up? There are a lot of museum ships that are open again, and if people don't want to travel, that's on them, but why are they not holding events? Like, this feels wrong. And it kind of dawned on us that, you know, we don't really need Wargaming's permission to go gather players and friends at a ship and have a day, do we? So Happa has kind of taken it upon himself to sort of lead the organizational aspect of this, but he's getting lots of help from his community and other people. And we have put together an event that's going to be taking place in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, on the very last weekend of May. That is Memorial Day weekend here in the U.S. aboard USS Kidd. We've contacted the museum. They're going to be happy to host us. We're going to do a little fundraising for them. In terms of community contributors that are participating and planning on attending, I know of myself, Happafader, Seven, Son MG, and Lord Zath are all going to be there. And there may be a few other names you recognize. But listen, guys, if you live anywhere in the South and are willing to come hang out with us at a day on a day aboard USS Kidd and just just hang out and just celebrate the community. You know, pay some homage, I should say, I suppose, to the museum ship and whatnot, and just have a great time. Baton Rouge is a really fun city to kind of hang out and spend a day or two in. I hope you'll come join us. I'll put a link down below. The link is to a Discord server Hap has set up to kind of organize things. Again, guys, this is not Wargaming sanctioned. This is not an Anchors Away event. This is something we're kind of putting together. We're hoping to maybe get some loot or something to give away from them, but I don't think any of that is set in stone just yet. But anyway, come join the Discord if you were interested. Stay in touch, and we'll keep you guys in the loop on that. That's still about 9 weeks away. We've got time to figure it out. Of course, patch just dropped here. It is 11.2. The pre-release of the Italian Destroyer line now in full swing, along with the fancy event that goes with it, where you join a team and you earn tokens. This should be pretty familiar by now to players who have been around for a year or two. This is kind of how pre-release events tend to be structured anymore. We are seeing, speaking of pre-release events, it wasn't that long ago we were doing this same sort of thing for the Pan-Asian Cruiser line pre-release, but now that particular cruiser line is in full release, so all of those ships are available in the regular tech tree. More super ships, of course, have entered testing. In this particular patch, I believe it is the British Tier 11, Tier 10, whatever, super ship, HMS Edgar, which is like a super Minotaur. She's in testing. I'll have a first look video going up on her this week. And then, of course, we've got more to talk about with super ships here, and I'll get to that in a minute. Savage Battles are back this month, or this patch. If you remember Savage Battles, last time they were available here on the live server was summer of 2019. Late June into July of 2019 was the last time they were available, and they're back now. It's actually a pretty fun event. It's one of the few kind of one-off events that I really do enjoy. It's neat. It's like super quick, destroyer craziness. They're a lot of fun. So that is here with some fun and unique rewards. One of the things in this patch that I want to talk about briefly is there's a whole section on spotting changes. There's some very bizarrely worded spotting changes that when you try to read it and understand what the hell are they talking about, it honestly, it makes you even more confused. Here's the short version, guys. Every ship in the game has a render radius in the sense of that ships will render for you to visually see the ship and the hull and the health pool within a certain radius, okay? For example, if you look at the mini-map right now in the lower right corner of the game you're watching, you'll see that cone that's moving around as I adjust my view. The outer edge of that cone is my render radius. Anything past that, even if it's spotted by my team, it will not render for me, okay? I cannot see it. Now, that cone is meant to be always past whatever your potential max gun range could ever possibly be. But there are instances in the game that have been discovered where that cone will stop and your guns will shoot past it. So you have the range to shoot at a target that will not render on your screen. That is, of course, not intended. It is dumb. And so Wargaming is fixing that. It's these weird one-off cases where you can stack like range module with a spotter plane and all this goofball stuff such that the range of your main battery goes out to, I don't know, like 32 kilometers or something crazy, and then like your render range stops at 29.5. So literally you could be shooting at targets but that won't show up on your screen. That's ridiculous. It's not meant to work that way, and so they're fixing it. That's what it boils down to. So don't freak out about the spotting change things. They worded it super badly. It makes no sense, but that's what's happening. There are a bunch of balance changes in this patch. I'll link the patch notes below. You can go check those out. Pro tip, guys, they're not that exciting because they're pretty much all related to super ships. Speaking of which, you might recall I warned you that super ships had already been deemed a success. There was this wording in their roadmap. Well, if super ships are successful, pro tip, guys, when Wargaming spends that much time and energy into doing something like that, it's going to be successful, okay? It doesn't matter what the data says. It's going to be successful. So, and as predicted, super ships have now been announced. They will be coming to the tech trees of the relevant nations, let's say, starting in update 11.3. That's in about 4 weeks or so. We're kind of over into devblog territory here, but I'll put a link down below. You can go read that. But yeah, super ships are coming. You can't stop them now. It is going to be here. It's been announced, but I'll mention it briefly again. There is another dockyard event starting next patch that is going to be for Tier VIII Pan-American battleship Atlantico. Again, I've got a first look video up on Atlantico here on the channel. You can go check that out if you want to learn a little more about the ship. There have been more changes since that video was made. None of them good. Let's just say that the ship has not been buffed in the interim. So a ship that I was already kind of lukewarm on when I made the first look video has continued to get nerfed. That's not encouraging, but it is sort of kind of what we've come to expect now from dockyard ships, in my opinion. Admittedly, I will admit, I misjudged Marlborough, right? Like, Marlborough is a better ship than I gave her credit for, so I am not the authority on such things, guys. Take my opinion with a grain of salt. You know, form your own opinion when you get the chance, but so far, Atlantico does not seem to be a giant win for me. And then, they've announced a couple more ships kind of coming into testing in the next patch. One of them is going to be the new French super battleship, which will be called Patrie. La joie de gloire et la patrie. Yep, so that is where we're coming to. The French will get their super ship, French battleship line will get their super ship soon. Ship going into testing next patch. And then 2 new premium ships, guys, announced recently that will be coming to the game for testing in 11.3. And that is Tier VIII Italian carrier. Yes, Italian aircraft carrier. You heard me right. This is Aquila. And this is not a surprise. Anybody who knows the history of the Regia Marina knows that Aquila existed, has probably been expecting this to come to the game for a while, and Wargaming is not going to disappoint you. Right now, on paper, I'll say that when you look at Aquila's stats and her numbers, she does not look very enticing. Admittedly, as we've seen before, on paper, things don't always translate into games, so we'll have a check of the ship when it comes to first look, and hopefully as we get into games. But right now, I don't really have a lot of good things to say about this ship. The other one is Tier 8 American light cruiser, premium light cruiser, USS San Diego. San Diego is I won't say she's often requested, but she's certainly one of the more well-known ships in the U.S. Navy that has not previously come to the game, simply because she is the second most decorated ship of the United States Navy of the Second World War after USS Enterprise. Now, Enterprise came to the game after a bit of a long fight. She did finally make it in, and she's been quite solid over the years. San Diego is an Atlanta-class cruiser, and so you would kind of start to expect, hey, ship would, Atlanta being a good starting point. But San Diego is actually right now slated to be more of a down-tiered, sort of somewhat mini-clone looking thing of Tier 10's USS Austin. This is a kind of a controversial choice. Little White Mouse has a big, long thread about this on the North American forums. I'll link below. You can read for yourself her opinion. I share a significant amount of her concerns about this ship right now. I own an Austin, and while the ship is not terrible, it is challenging to play, right? It is an incredibly challenging ship to play. And for a ship like San Diego to get kind of a similar treatment feels really, really awful. Simply because this should be an easy win for Wargaming, right? This is what should be a very popular Tier 8 light cruiser, right? This should be an easy win for them in terms of, getting this ship out there, making it available for sale, and selling them like hotcakes. But right now, because of where she's at with the goofy mechanics, the HE, the SAP, and the gimped main battery reload when she doesn't have her little main battery reload gimmick trick to press, it's just there's so many things wrong with this ship right now. I'll do a first look video when she comes to testing. Maybe she'll have had some changes by then. Have a read of the stats yourself below. Have a read of Mouse's thread. Develop your own opinion, guys. But I'll tell you right now, I don't like where they're going with San Diego, and it hurts me as a fan of the U.S. Navy to see a ship that should be an easy, popular ship go this bizarro, weak route where, Atlanta AA is already not amazing. It's not terrible, but it's average for Tier 7, and it's going to be even more average for Tier 8, where she's entering. There's a lot of really good AA cruisers at Tier 8. Pro tip, San Diego is not going to be one, okay? You can just look at the math, and it's not going to happen, okay? And then her main battery is like 8.5-second reload on 5-inch guns when her main battery reload thing is down, and yada, yada. There's just, it's this myriad of things. Mouse sums it up far better than I ever could, but I share so many of her concerns. So Yeah, we'll have to see. Hopefully, Wargaming makes some changes to San Diego, because right now I am just not a huge fan of where she's at in testing. Anyway, guys, let's wrap things up. New patches here. Stream schedule this week is going to be just boats on Thursday. Taking some time off. Busy week at work, so I may not be around much in the comments or on Discord. I apologize for that. But hope you'll drop by this stream this week, and we'll chat some more. In the meantime, wash your hands, be safe. I'll catch you next time.